Howdy.
What's up, friends?
It's been a while.
For us.
Yeah, for us. It's been like 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Not that long then. But a lot of things have happened over the course of since we've gotten together last.
And two, we haven't really talked a whole hell of a lot.
We really haven't. So be prepared. The first hour of this is just going to be us catching up. I'm going to go ahead and tell you now because I've got things to talk about.
Me too. I got a story to tell and I'm excited about it.
I've been obsessed, I tell you, with the Super Bowl halftime show. Obsessed.
You and half of the country.
I loved it. I loved the symbolism. I loved the songs. I've been hyper fixated on Kendrick Lamar ever since then. And I've also been listening to a lot of Green Day recently too. It's really like
she's
helping me.
She's reminiscing.
I'm in my angry girl era, I think. Yeah. And I've been catching up on last podcast on the left, which they just finished their series on the tragedy of the Batavia, which I will save you. I will spare you. But if you want to listen to the last 10 minutes-ish of the fourth part of that episode, Marcus Parks gives a superb chef's kiss speech that's really like holding my mental health up right now. It's being held up by that speech, Kendrick Lamar's Super Bowl halftime show, Green Day, and a little bit of Chapel Roan, and my friends in the Discord.
I feel...
We haven't talked.
I know.
But like...
See, here's the thing.
And planning the retreat that I'm going on.
Here's the thing.
So.
Here's my beef.
With what?
You.
What'd I do?
When you don't reach out, when you're hanging on by a thread.
I'm going to be hanging on by a thread for the next 4 years.
You don't call and say, I need to talk.
No. I just up my meds. I don't know if I should be saying this on the podcast these days, but.
Well.
Anywho, so there's that. What else has been going on? Daniel has a kidney stone today. He's been throwing up all day. I wrote the majority of the episodes today. Listen, my gripe with having ADHD is I can only have one hobby at a time. Right now, my hobby is coloring. So, sorry about your luck. But I wrote these episodes without taking a gummy. So there's that.
Treat then.
They might actually make sense. There was only one sentence in one of my notes where I was like, I quoted it because I was like, I was sitting here and I read that sentence over and over and over again, and I still don't know what it means. So I left it in, and I'm going to let y'all decide. I think it's in is it in the Ireland? Is it in my Ireland notes? It's either in the Ireland notes or the next episode, the Women of History episode. It's not this episode, I don't believe.
Spoiler alert.
Yeah, spoiler alert. You're going to learn
what
about...
the next 2 episodes are going to be about.
Yeah, that's fine. You've got something to look forward to. That's what I like to do, is I like to give people something to look forward to. Because if you don't have anything to look forward to, you're going to lose your goddamn mind. So, there you go. What have you had going on?
Well, we're about to start soccer. That starts this week. So, season 2 of soccer for us as coaches. So we're coaching like our middle child's team.
Yeah.
And we've put Easton on her team. So he's like a full he's like a full 3 years younger than everybody else on the team.
Yeah.
Which doesn't seem like a lot, but in sports, it is a lot.
Yeah.
But he practiced with us every time we practiced last season. The only thing he was missing out on was the games because he wasn't, signed up.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't want to play last season.
Yeah.
That he made that decision on his own. Don't come for me. We give him the option of whether or not he wants to play and what sport he wants to play. We don't force any of our children into any sports. If we did, my girls both would be playing softball and I would not be coaching soccer, and Easton would be playing football.
Yeah.
But somehow we got into soccer. I didn't play soccer as a child.
I think soccer's pretty good for them, though.
Yeah, because it gives them that. The reason why Easton practiced with us every time last season was because it got his energy out, and he needs that outlet. He's got so much energy.
Like, I think, if I had a child, I would probably at least try the sports. Like, I would encourage them to at least try, because I was never encouraged to try.
It's a good, healthy outlet for
for
your energy, for wellness, for
building teamwork.
Person skills, social skills.
Yeah, it's good for
mental health.
A menagerie of things.
You've had a bad day.
Yeah,
at school.
Right.
You go kick a soccer ball around.
Right.
Get that anger out, man.
Or smack the shit out of baseballs.
Yeah.
Or
tackle some kids on the football field.
Right.
I mean,
or smack the shit out of tennis balls or golf balls or what have you. So
Easton's thing, he really likes soccer. We've tried baseball. He was good at it. He just didn't want to do it. He got scared because they played him up a age group one night to fill in.
Yeah.
And he got hit.
I was going to say, I vaguely remember him getting hit, and he was
hit in the face.
I'm done with that.
He was so done. But we did make him finish out the season.
Yeah.
But since then, he doesn't want to go back to it. His thing is...
I don't blame him. I probably wouldn't either.
Well, I can't. You know how many times I got smacked all over?
I mean, to be fair, but
also
I never played sports, so to me that seems scary.
Well, I had a dad that put me in catcher's gear.
Yeah.
And hummed balls at me until I was no longer scared, which sounds like abuse to most of you snowflake people out there these days, but that's how we were raised.
That's just how, that's how you get good. Yeah. It's part of practice. I think.
Did not get injured. I was not abused, and it made me a better player. And I thoroughly enjoyed softball.
Yeah. Plus, you played softball in the 90s and the early 2000s. It was a different time.
It was. I played softball from the age of 5 until I was 18.
Yeah,
and then I coached.
That's how, they've got those machines that hurl balls at you.
Yeah.
So I don't think it's any different than that.
But anyway, Easton's thing is soccer and anything with a motor that goes fast.
Yeah.
Go-karts. He's got a 4-wheeler. Those have been top priority for my children. Gemma likes soccer. She also likes riding the go-kart. She flipped the go-kart.
Oh my gosh.
Full barrel roll.
Yeah.
And still got up and got back on.
Look at her go. Good for her.
I was very proud. So yeah, that's about to be my life. I've been working. We've had snow days this week, so my kids only went to school one day this past week.
I still had to go to work. And I had to work.
I work from home. I don't get snow days.
Boo.
And
tomato emoji. A tomato emoji.
Right. My mental health is probably about to be semi in the shitter because my nephew is leaving this week.
Oh, yeah.
To go to basic for the Navy. My nephew was my first baby. He was born when I was we
were seniors, I believe.
Were we?
Yeah.
I remember. Yes, we were. No.
Either juniors or seniors.
I think we were juniors because he was a year old when I got my first tattoo, and that was my payment for watching him over that summer.
Yeah.
So, it's somewhere along there. But anyway, that's the first baby that I had a hand in.
Yeah.
Bringing up. And, you know, there's always the special bond, special relationship between your first niece or nephew.
Yeah.
He may be a shit and a little weirdo, but I love him very much. But and this is the story that I've been so excited to tell you all night and I couldn't wait. So we've decided that he and I are going to get tattoos together.
Yeah.
Whenever, I don't know if he's going to get to come back home from basic because I think he goes straight to training.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know when he'll get to come back home.
Yeah.
But our plan is to, as soon as we can, we're going to get tattoos. So we were talking about it last night.
Yeah.
And I had initially said that I wanted to get like a little like paper boat.
Mm-hmm.
And then when I sent him a picture of it, he was like, "Hiya, Georgie." And I was like, never mind. I didn't even think about it. So then we were talking about it. And then he goes, I was like, "You're going to be like a real life pirate, except minus the rum and the plundering." And he was, or the thievery is what I said.
Yeah.
And he was like, as I send this, he goes, "I'm going to be like the guys on Aquaman, but white." And he goes, "We went 2 different directions." And then my brain immediately was like, "I got it." And he goes, "What?" And I was like, "We're doing Mermaid Man and Barnacle Boy."
Oh my God.
I was like, I'm Mermaid Man. I'm so excited about this.
Oh my God.
We'll probably come up with something different by the time we get to do it. But, you know, I have time to think and plan now.
Right.
But I don't know. I'm just kind of, I don't want to get like the generic anchor.
Yeah.
I don't want to get.
Because anybody who's ever had anything to do with the Navy has an anchor.
Yeah. And I get the symbolism behind it. I do.
Yeah.
And it would be different, like, if I were his mom and I'm like the anchor that brings him home, you know, but I'm not his mom. So there's that.
We sold our first piece of merch. we sold a sticker on Etsy.
Was it to one of your?
Yeah, it was my friend Court. Ended up sending her some extras.
This bitch over here is like, "I owe you $2," and I'm like, "No."
I was like, "Remind me to give you $2."
I don't want.
And she was like, $2. "For what?" I said, "I listed our stickers on Etsy. They're $4 free shipping. My Etsy is Britter Sales, and I'll list it. I'll probably add it to just add that one specific listing to because I sell other stuff on there too. But just the stickers, I'll probably add to like our episode notes, like to our socials list or whatever.
And it's a possibility in the future that we may
do other things. Yeah. And we may create like a whole separate Etsy. I just wanted to kind of like gauge how it would go if I threw it out there.
I pitched the idea of a 2026 calendar.
I wouldn't be mad at it. And calendars are relatively cheap to produce, depending on where we would go with it.
We could have so much fun with this.
We could. And we've got plenty of time to plan it. Like, well, I say that, but like we'll have to talk about it. We'll have to figure it out.
We would need to wait till fall because that's more of our vibe.
Yes, but we would also still need time to be able to produce and like put somewhere to sell. So we'd have to figure it out.
We'll do research on the front end.
Yeah, because I don't think that would get, like, I think if we were going to do that, we should have shot the photos this past fall.
So hold on, it mimight be 2027.
Yeah.
Anyway,
we'll figure it out. We'll talk about it.
If Allie hadn't bombed our freaking photo sesh the last time,
could just use those photos. They're old as hell now. I've lost weight since then. My hair's a different color.
Just kidding. I like those pictures the way that they are.
I do like them. What else? What else has been going on? There was something very specific that I was like, I cannot wait to talk about this on the podcast. Something besides the Super Bowl halftime show.
There is one thing that I want to talk about, but I can't because I'm not allowed to yet.
Oh, no.
You already know.
Do I?
Yeah.
I don't know. You have to remind me. I got shit for brains. Oh, yeah.
It's a thing that I'm real excited about.
Something I'm really excited about is I figured out so like on the retreat I'm going on, we're all giving like each other a little gift, a little something. Like we're not required to, like we don't have to, but pretty much everyone is, because we're all like artists and we all like do different things. So I been racking my brain trying to figure out what I was going to do. And I finally decided. And then I'm really excited about like my big plan, because like you see those stack of boxes. Mm-hmm. So in the community, I am known for my gift giving abilities. I'm good. Listen, I'm not good at much, but what I am good at is giving gifts.
She is.
And I'm like,
she does too much.
I'm the queen of doing too much. Like, I've got the too much gene. It resides within me. And you know what? In 2025, I'm not apologizing for that anymore, because I need hope, and this gives me hope. It gives me something to do. And so I'm like creating like curated, like a set of like curated themed gifts to give away at the retreat. So spoiler alert, if you're listening and you're going on the retreat, the committee already told them, and they were like, yay! I'm excited. I think that's about it. We had the threat of a nadir and then snow in the same week. Which
this
I'm
weather
tired
has
of.
been so stupid.
Yeah.
It was like cold. We had snow this week.
Oh yeah. Our pipes froze at work.
Yeah, I lost hot water in the kitchen and my washer froze again.
Oh, nice.
So, but then, get this, here it is Saturday, and it's been cold. Stuff thawed today.
Yeah.
Finally.
It got up to like 40-something degrees.
It's supposed to be like 60, in the 60s, 70s next week.
Well.
That is so dumb.
I don't know.
I mean, I'm not mad, but I'm tired of the cold.
Yeah.
I'm tired of it, Grandpa.
Yeah.
But I'm also aware that it's too damn bad. This tea is so nasty.
You're just trying to get through it.
I really am, because I don't want to waste it, but I'm really...
Because you did get it at Five Below, and it was probably like $3.
Probably. But, like, I just really want to see what the bubbles taste like in the bottom. I got a popping boba drink, which I have gotten the dragon fruit and strawberry one, and I really, really like it. Mm-hmm. But this one is mixed berry and hibiscus tea, and I don't like it. Yeah. It tastes like shit. It's got like a licorice kind of.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Ooh.
So I really just want to taste what the bubbles taste like, but you got to get through the rest of it to get to the bubbles, and I'm really upset about it. So,
you lost me at licorice taste.
I should have stuck with the green tea,
even if it's like a hint. First.
Yeah, this isn't great. I'm pretty pissed about it, but who knows? I'll end up drinking it and being like, this isn't bad by the end of it, because that's a thing that I do.
Yeah.
I don't think I have anything else. I'll probably think of stuff later.
Yeah, I'm sure I'll think of stuff like in the middle. I need to start like just every time I think of something and I'm like, I want to talk about this on the podcast, I need to just put it in my notes app or write it down. But I'm usually like in the middle of something. Yeah. Because, like, I've been listening, and, like, I'll be, like, listening to an audiobook or a podcast or something, and I'm like, oh, that would be really, like, fun to talk about, and then the thought just, it just goes right on out.
Oh, another new thing. I don't think I had NOLA before when we recorded last.
No, you had, because we talked about you shitting. Pretty sure.
Talked about me shitting.
Oh, I thought you were talking about the New Orleans trip. No. You did get a new critter.
I did. And your girl got another new pet. I got a leopard gecko.
Me, I'm like, we done heard about you shitting all over New Orleans.
No. We got another new pet. It's a leopard gecko. She is so cute. She's like...
You sent me a picture of her, and I was like, I sent that gif of that guy from... he's on some fashion show, and it's like where he's like, ugh.
Yeah.
I was like, ooh.
She's so cute.
I don't like creepy crawlies.
She looks like a little, like when we first got her, she was like itty bitty tiny.
Yeah.
Like fit very in the very center of the palm of your hand. Like she was so small. And she looked like a little gummy bear. But she's like pink and orange and white, or pink and yellow and white. She's just so freaking cute. When we first got her and she was like still kind of scared, she was very spicy. She would hiss at you and try and bite you.
That's how you knew she was the one.
That really was how I knew she was the one, because she instantly tried to bite the girl that like got her out of the enclosure. I was like, that's it. That's the one.
Unhand me.
Yeah. But she is so cute. She is so cute. She brings me so much joy. Her and Bowser both. Hey. But her name is Nola. And I love her. I wanted to name her Rowena. But that's a mouthful.
It really is. But I think that would have fit. You can call her Rowena in your head.
Right. Imagine Easton trying to say Rowena.
Oh my gosh.
Loretta was also in the running.
Yeah.
And I did make him say that, and it was cute. My bad. I didn't mute my computer. ESPN trying to tell me something.
I'm surprised my other laptop's not over there with the Discord notifications. Just bloop, bloop, bloop. It does it even when it's closed. I can't figure it out. And I cannot turn those notifications off. And if I turn them off, I don't get them on my phone or on my laptop.
Yeah.
So, like, I'll have messages. Like, I don't get them until I close my laptop. And then my phone is just like...
That's all right.
And I'm like, oh my God.
I, years ago, subscribed to... So, the year that we were supposed to go to New Orleans and ended up not being able to go.
Yeah.
Right when COVID was starting to really pick up for the first time.
Yeah.
I had subscribed to text messages from New Orleans to kind of keep up with what was going on as far as COVID and stuff goes. And I just never canceled that.
Mm-hmm.
So now I am getting all the Mardi Gras texts.
Nice.
And I just got one that says, if you see something, say something by reporting suspicious activity to a public safety official.
We have a customer who's going to New Orleans it's coming up, and he's religious. And so he's going to spread the word.
That Tuesday's on the 2nd.
Yeah. So that makes sense. I don't know. My laptop says it's January 26th. So I keep forgetting what day it is.
Yeah.
What else was I going to say? There was something else. Oh, well, it'll come to me.
Do we want to get to it?
Someday. Yeah, let's get right on into it.
So we're doing Maryland, our next installment of the Spooky State.
And I will say, you know how Maine let me down?
Maryland
came in clutch.
Hey, did you do that one that I was telling you about? That I looked into?
Oh, no, I didn't.
Okay. So she's got the spooky stories. I'm going to come in again with the weird laws. I don't know if y'all like that or not.
I like it because I like to hear about that kind of shit.
She likes to sit over there and scroll through her phone while I'm talking.
No, I do like to hear the laws, but because I'm also like, I had to use my big law brain this week in a Facebook argument. Basically, so quick. I'll give you the condensed version of this story. So, lady hires a contractor. I know who the contractor is. I don't know, like, him personally, but I know of him. Like, he's got a reputation. And he is associated with Daniel's family in a roundabout way. Like, it's not like, they're not elbow to elbow or anything, but it's like a roundabout way. Anyway, so lady hires him to do some contracted work and HVAC work. Makes no sense. He's not an HVAC person. Anyway, so she reaches out to him because he got a deposit from her, came and did a little bit of work, and then he's never shown back up. So she reaches out and she's like, hey, and sends this big long message and is like, here's what we've paid for. This is what the quote said. This is what the contract says. Da 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 da. His response, and I'm going to go ahead and just ruin this episode with an F-bomb. I've got the screenshots. Best believe. I screenshot everything. His response to her big long message was to say, una momento, fuck you and your husband. He's lucky I don't come smack the shit out of him for stalking my wife. Now, when he says stalking his wife, what he means is, dude went to his Facebook page and saw that his wife tagged him in a post and commented on it and was like, hey, can you have him call me, please? Well, anyway, so she posts on Facebook. This dude blocks her, by the way. She posts in a different group saying, hey, maybe don't work with him. He stole $9,000 from me, and he showed up for one day of work, didn't even bring enough materials to do one day's worth of work. And now this is what, and she posted screenshots of her message to him, his message back to her, all that. She came with receipts. So I see her post, right, on one of our local community groups. And I see, her post saying, he's blocked me, but here he is making posts about me, right? So admin takes down both posts, right? Oh, and Daniel read me his post because I didn't see his post first. I saw her post first, and I was like, oh, she's got a case. Listen, she's got a case. And Daniel's reading me his post, and I was like, he sounds like he does not have his shit together. He sounds like a mess. And I was like, I'm team her. So, admin of the group takes down both of their posts, right? He makes his own post that says, basically, I'm going to let y'all hash it out in these comments here. Mind you, he's still got this woman blocked. So they're not hashing anything out.
Right.
It's just everybody weighing in. So I commented on that post and I said that I am hashtag team her. I'm not going to say anybody's names because I'm not trying to, whatever. But I was like, because she's 100% got a legal case since she's got a signed contract. And he responds to me and says that signed contract didn't go as planned on their end either. So like I said, all the money is accounted for when they make a public apology and put their business name on it. There's nothing else to talk about. Me and another lady were like, apology for what? You stole from them. So I am basically in a roundabout way telling him, shut your mouth. You're digging a hole. You're digging yourself in a hole. These posts might get deleted. You might get blocked, but screenshots are forever. Screenshots are forever, my guy. So in response to my long comment, basically, telling him that the burden of proof is on him. If she violated the contract first, that's on you. You got to prove that, right? His response, try this on for size, and it's a picture of a pile of cash. Okay? I'm not impressed. I've never been drier in my life. He gets upset and makes another post and I'm going to end it with this because it's just a whole big thing. But anyway, I ended up blocking him. But he makes a separate post whining that he's not being allowed to. He says, this page lets everybody say what they want to say, but won't let someone defend their self, THERE. Here's the money, show the people, right? That's the post, and it's a picture of the money, okay? My top comment on this post, first of all, Daniel was like, you literally had a whole post to defend yourself. Why are you whining about it in a different post?
Right.
But my favorite comment, and I'll end it with this, said, and this guy, I've gotten into a different argument with this other guy on the same group, and I'm like, but you've redeemed yourself, sir. He said, I'm tired of people calling me a thief, so here's the money I took.
Right.
When I tell you, so first of all, I had a gummy while I'm having this conversation on Facebook. When I read that comment, it took me out. I was howling with laughter. And me and Danny keep saying that to each other. Like, We'll just keep randomly go. I'm tired of people calling me a thief, so here's a picture of the money I took. Anyway, that's small town drama that none of us are involved in. If you wanted to hear it, it was like late at night and I gave a play-by-play in the Discord. I had like 3 people sat for this story while I was typing it out. I just posted, y'all want to hear some small town drama that ain't none of us involved in, but I just called a man short and got in trouble for it.
So here's Facebook drama more that I was involved in.
Oh, yeah. I wanted to know what she said back to you. You never told me what she said back to you.
Okay, so I'll get there. Anyway, so this woman posted in a community page, if anyone has received a big order of salt addressed to this person, please let me know. Should have been delivered by USPS this morning. Thank you.
Can you light an incense? One of the cats just took a dump.
I started saying it wasn't my ass this time.
No, it was not your ass.
Pause.
And I know who it was, too. It was you, wasn't it?
I smell it.
Ass.
Good Lord. This one's flimsy.
Yeah, some of them are like thick, like tree branches.
Whichever one one of y'all that was, that smells like something ain't right with your belly.
I'm telling you. And she'd do it as soon as if I clean the litter box, she'll go in there and do something like that. And I'm like, rude. Anywho.
Okay, so big package full of salt.
Right.
Now, mind you, this was literally yesterday.
Yeah.
So we're getting warmer weather.
Yeah.
So it could have been for the ice and snow.
Oh, yeah.
It could have been. They could have a restaurant.
Yeah.
There's numerous possibilities, okay? And so then someone posts on there and was like, sad state of society is that scumbag POS that received it will keep it and not say a word. I've called and a couple times the driver remembered the package and where they left it and it can be recovered. And she's like, I called, couldn't get much information.
Yeah.
So I've come here with a glimpse of hope. We've had a lot of issues with mail lately. Blah, blah, blah. So then me, being me.
Just a little funny, haha.
Right. Was like, Salt, are we trying to keep demons out? And I post a gif of
Dean Winchester, yeah.
Saying, wait, what?
Yeah.
I thought it was funny. Was it helpful to the post at all? No.
Just a little.
Was it hurtful to the post at all?
No.
Also, no.
I don't think so.
Was I being hateful or an asshole in any way?
No.
No. Just a little ha-ha.
Yeah.
I thought it was harmless. It got 3 laugh reacting
from people who've clearly seen Supernatural.
Right.
I gotta know what she said, though.
Her response.
Oh, Lord. I'm sad.
Are we trying to be funny? Let me show you. Let me get this straight. You saw a post that a person is missing a purchase, and this was your way of helping. I can't see much humor here, or maybe I'm just past the middle school tude age. There's one thing Southern hospitality taught me, and it's bless your heart, but my roots would suggest for you to grow up and get out more. Maybe listen to some music, like a part of the 1999 song by Ronan Keating. You say it best when you say nothing at all. Pick one. Have a good day.
That feels uncalled for.
I just didn't respond. I just wanted to be like, I wasn't trying to be an asshole. I was just, making a funny. So then I see it and I was like, oh, she's a little pressed about this. Yeah. And I do feel kind of bad. I'm a little remorseful about it.
I don't think you did anything wrong.
I turned to TJ and I'm like, guess what? So I'm telling him about it because he had seen my response. He was like, smart ass. And I'm like, it was a funny.
Yeah.
I didn't think it would hurt or, in any way.
What are you doing over here?
So then TJ's like, well, I don't blame her. I don't disagree with her at all. You weren't helping. You were being a smart ass. You were being an asshole. No, I wasn't. I was just being funny. And anyone who has ever seen Supernatural would get it and just say, ha, and keep scrolling.
Right. But no. How long after you commented did she...
Girl, like almost a full day. No, it wasn't. I mean...
So she sat on it for a while.
Yeah.
And then, I don't know, she must have gotten her feelings. I don't know. She must be really upset that somebody saw her salt.
I want to look at her personal profile. Oh, she's friends.
Oh no. Oh, I don't know. It's color. At this point in my life, color me shocked.
I mean, what are we? She looks fairly young.
I don't know. She must have just got her in her feelings.
I mean,
I don't know. That seems, I mean, to like sit on it for a while and then.
I'm sorry if I offended you, friend. But like,
I'd be like, see, I would just respond with another. See, that's the petty Betty. I would just respond with that gif of like Taylor Swift when she realized she was getting booed at the Super Bowl, where she's like, okay.
Right. Oh, not going there. Anyway, my bad.
Anywho,
I don't think she's from here. I think she's
a transplant.
Yes,
Oh,
but
okay.
not from. I think her family may be in other countries, so maybe my humor doesn't come across.
Maybe
because they
I don't know.
Have the same humor.
And she said something about Southern hospitality. Bless your heart, girl.
Well,
that's got different iterations.
She said what her exact thing to that was, because it made it sound like she wasn't from here.
Oh, okay.
There's one thing Southern hospitality taught me.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Girl, you ain't from around here, are you? I think so bless your heart has different iterations for me. Does it for you?
Bless your heart generally for me means
like sometimes it means, oh honey, you're kind of stupid.
Yeah.
But then sometimes it's like, oh, well, yeah, that too. But sometimes it's like, oh, bless your heart, I feel bad for you. Like you're going through something.
I wasn't going. I'm not. No, I was just trying to spread cheer. If you
some people just don't want to have. Listen, I've already said it. So some people just don't want to have any fucking fun.
Right. Oh, BT Dubs.
Listen, it's a free for all this episode.
BT Dubs. Josh and his friend have started watching Supernatural. He texted me the other day and was like, does it get better? Because they're like first season. And he's like, this is kind of stupid.
It does.
Like, it does.
Push through.
It gets better until
after season 5.
I think that's what I said. I said it gets better until the Leviathan kick in. And then it sucks until the Men of Letters come in.
Yeah.
And then after the Men of Letters, it starts getting good.
Yeah.
Until like the last season or two.
I would say after the Amara stuff.
Yeah.
Is when I kind of trailed off of it.
It's also too, well, that thing
I got a cat name out of it and I was like, okay, I'm done with this shit.
Right. The thing I sent you the other day where they're talking about rebooting.
Mm-hmm.
The storyline that it was giving, if that is true, I'm going to be pissed because it negates the whole ending.
Yeah.
It negates the entire ending.
I think they should just leave it alone. They tried bringing like the Winchesters. That didn't really do. I haven't watched it.
I enjoyed it.
I don't know.
It probably didn't hit because it didn't give you the Sam and Dean that you want.
Plus, there was like the drama with Jared not being involved in it. And he was like, I didn't even know about it.
Well, I mean...
And then he got into a bar fight and got arrested.
I think, should they leave it alone? Probably. But will it make my heart happy to have Sam and Dean back in my life? Yes. Because seeing, oh my God. What's the other one's name? Not Jared, but the other one. Jensen. Why? I don't know why I couldn't think of that.
Yeah.
Seeing Jensen in other things hurts my heart a little because it's not Dean.
Yeah.
But much like, and I know you can't relate, but if they decided to reboot Sons of Anarchy, man, I'm here. I'm here for it. There's no way that they could.
Yeah.
They've done spinoffs. But there's no way that story could go on because all of the mains are dead.
Yeah.
Spoiler alert.
I mean, the only way they'd be able to do it is if they did like a prequel series.
And I think that they have. I could be wrong.
But everybody's a lot older now, so they wouldn't be able to use the same people.
Right. I don't know. I kind of like for them to go back and do like the life of his kids, of Jax Teller's kids.
Yeah.
To see how that goes.
Will you quit?
Just and two, y'all probably can't hear it, but I got the farts today, so y'all are probably hearing it. Maybe not. I don't know. Our mics
just stand up,
good.
fart right in the microphone. I don't use that one, so
real closely listen, and you might hear a little purr every once in a while. I don't know what.
Disgusting.
All right, let's get into Maryland. Sorry.
So, like I said, Maryland did not disappoint this episode. So, how do we want to do this? Like usual, where I'll like read one and then you'll throw a couple things at me.
How many stories you got?
One. I like how we do this during the episode.
Right.
Hold on. 2, 3. I think I did a bunch. 4. Number 4 is long. 5. I did 5 because I don't think I did any after this. Yeah.
Okay.
All right. So we will jump, I say right into it, 42 minutes in. The Governor Calvert House is situated directly across from the original main entrance to the Maryland State House in Annapolis, Maryland. It was owned by 2 colonial governors, Charles Calvert in 1728 and Benedict Calvert in 1748. I don't think that's right either. I don't think those dates are right now that I'm thinking about my other... Anyway, the Calvert family were the proprietors of the colony of Maryland, with the charter being granted in 1632. And in 1765, the structure was rebuilt in the popular Georgian style, and the front entrance was moved to face the state circle rather than overlooking the bay. Purposefully, this change coincided with the future building and importance of the State House in 1772. Though this property is named after a former governor of Maryland that occupied the building in 1720, his residency was brief and he moved out of the property in 1727, but not of his own volition. Benedict Calvert was studying in Surrey, England in 1727 when he was suddenly sent by his brother, Lord Baltimore, to take over governorship of Maryland. The only issue was that Maryland already had a governor, Charles Calvert. Charles wasn't exactly excited to learn that he would be handing his position and his estate over to his younger and much less experienced cousin. But Benedict was only able to convince him to step down after cutting him a deal on the tobacco tax. And Benedict's tenure in office was even shorter than his cousin's, and he was succeeded by Samuel Ogle just 4 years later in 1731. Samuel made it a point to note how negative his interactions with Benedict were, and would go so far as to say that Benedict was a heavy drinker, heavier than anyone Samuel had ever met in his life. Benedict didn't get to go out searching for his forever home, as he died of tuberculosis, which I hear is making a comeback, on the ship back to his home in England. Charles Calvert died in Maryland a few years later in 1734. Though he was never able to reclaim his governor status, he died one of the wealthiest men in Maryland, primarily because of the deal he made with his cousin. The property was struck by lightning in both 1752 and 1764, and it was used as a mercantile firm in 1766, a barracks for the state of Maryland in 1784, a printing office in 1843, and then was divided into apartments in the early 1900s. There were archaeological excavations conducted by the University of Maryland and the Historic Annapolis Foundation from 1982 to 1984, which resulted in the discovery of thousands of artifacts. In 1985, the Historic Inns of Annapolis completed the 4-story addition. The house has a special and unique feature, which is the brick hypocaust. There is a portion of the subfloor that exposes the hypocaust and is visible to guests now and is believed to be the earliest surviving example of a brick hypocaust. This was used for Charles Calvert's orangery, located in the southeast corner of the building. And I had to look up what that was. An orangery was a showcase for nobility and was typically attached to a greenhouse in which citrus and other exotic fruits and flowers were kept. But from the attic to the basement, this inn is shrouded in mystery. Governor Calvert had this installed before he handed his government position and his home to his cousin, Benedict Leonard Calvert. And archaeologists have postulated on why a politician would want to put the level of work that it would take to create this unit that would allow for the growth of exotic plants. It was something that was a marvel for the time, the 18th century, and would have cost a fortune. And the question is, was all of this work and money spent just so Governor Calvert could grow oranges in his basement? Dr. Anne Yinch has hypothesized the intentions of Governor Calvert's greenhouse was linked to Enlightenment philosophy, which suggests a correlation between the pursuit of political control and the need to control the world's natural resources. But this is just one theory, though there have been many theories shared over the years. Today, it is operated as a hotel, and many state legislators call this hotel home each year when they convene at the Maryland State House across the street. It became a historic inn during the 1980s, and like I said, there is a glass floor in the sitting area that exposes not only that brick hypocaust, but the original stone foundation of the building. And visitors have reported seeing unfamiliar faces after looking at the glass floor for long enough, which, as I wrote this, I was like, I feel like that means, like, it's not that they're seeing faces under the glass. I think they're staring at the glass and seeing reflections of faces that aren't in the room, like, invisible to the naked eye.
Right.
But guests have also reported hearing noises from the hotel attic, which is sealed off behind a latchkey door to guests. A more salacious ghost is that of Dominic. It has long been believed that Dominic is a disgruntled former employee of the hotel, and though he checked out many years ago, his ghost has been seen all over the place. And there was once a medium that came in to communicate with Dominic, and it was learned that he's not just some lost spirit, but he is in fact very aware that he is dead. And it was claimed that Dominic communicated that he has chosen to stay on at the hotel as a specter because he loves to watch strangers undress.
Oh, weird.
So think about that the next time you're in a hotel room. Do a sexy little dance just in case the ghost is watching you.
Ew.
Dominic may be the most legendary ghost at the Governor Calvert house, but he isn't alone. There have been reports of encounters of a man dressed in 18th century fashion and is thought to be someone who lived in the home after Benedict Calvert left. There have also been reports of a woman who took her own life in the 1940s who was spotted lingering in the hallways after dark. And booking information is available in the source linked in the episode notes if you want to check it out.
Fuck me up.
I think according to the source, it was pretty cheap, but I don't know how old that source was. So hotel rooms are not cheap these days.
No, they're not. Hold on, time out. I'm trying to do something here, and my shit is lagging. My dumbass just looked down like, are you connected to Wi-Fi? Yeah. How else would you be on the internet if you weren't?
Mara, your face is dirty. You have food all over your face. I can read another one if you need time.
No, you can. Hold on. 2 seconds. Let me just do this. All right. So here is the first thing of laws that we're going to go over. I'm thinking I've got 4 links for laws. I'll do 2. And then you read your second story.
Sounds good.
Wait, second and third, because the second and third were kind of short.
Yeah.
And then, so if you don't mind doing 2 at a time.
That's fine.
And then I'll do the other 2 between that and story 4.
Okay.
And then I can end it with the thing. So just
and 5 is short. It's
okay,
very short.
So that's fine. So,
yeah.
Okay. Anyway, we should have gotten this established before we started.
It's fine.
Whatever. So the first one, thistles, you know what I'm talking about?
Yes.
Like the little prickly things?
Yeah.
Are not allowed to grow in someone's yard. It's like a invasive species type deal.
That makes sense.
Men cannot buy drinks for female bartenders. I'm here for that.
Yeah. Sign me up.
Eating while swimming in the ocean is prohibited. Hear me out.
I can almost understand that. Because you don't want, like, whatever it is to be, I don't know, you don't want to feed you don't want to, like, contaminate the water with whatever plastic shit you've bought. And you don't want, like, because it's bad when, like, wildlife gets accustomed to, like, getting food from people.
Right. A woman is not allowed to go through her husband's pockets while he's sleeping.
Fair, I guess.
Who's calling the cops on that?
That's true, but like, why was that a problem? That must have been a problem.
In Caroline County, it's illegal to forecast or pretend to foretell the future. So do they not have like a local news station, like with weather? I think that's probably aimed more toward fortune tellers and psychics and stuff. In Baltimore, it's illegal to wash or scrub sinks no matter how dirty they get. Who's calling the cops on this?
That explains so much about Baltimore that I know.
It's a violation to be in a public park with a sleeveless shirt.
You know what? Hell yeah, brother. I don't want to see your meat sticks.
I'll be wearing sleeveless shirts all summer long.
I don't.
A law from Ocean City in the early 1900s prohibits men from going topless on the boardwalk. You know what?
Hell yeah, brother. I don't want to see your titties
I'm
either.
Good with that. And then it says, women around the country know how you feel.
Yeah.
In Colombia, you cannot have an antenna exposed outside of your house, yet you can have a 25-foot satellite dish.
What the hell?
You cannot swear while inside the city limits of Baltimore. I'd like to know who's following up on that.
Nobody. Also, from what I know about Baltimore.
So then, hold on.
Amara, you want to purr into the microphone?
Let me go to this next one. Strap in. You ready for this?
Yeah.
It is illegal to give or receive oral sex in Maryland.
That'd be fine with me.
If you live in Baltimore, it's illegal to take a lion to the movies.
I mean, only in Baltimore?
That's all it says here. In 2010, Governor O'Malley signed into law Maryland's Right to Dry Act. This allows renters to have clotheslines.
Okay.
I don't know why that would be illegal in the first place.
I don't know.
But that's all I got from those two. So you can go on to your next one.
So if you ask anyone who is familiar with the Eastern Shore to tell you a good ghost story, the first one they tend to gravitate to is the tale of Big Liz in the Greenbrier Swamp. This story dates back to the Civil War and has become immensely popular over time with the locals and visitors to the area. Greenbrier Swamp is approximately 10 square miles and is located near the Blackwater Wildlife Refuge and is set in the most beautiful Eastern Shore landscape. The legend goes that Big Liz was a plantation slave in the region, and her master was most likely a smuggler or a spy. There were no Civil War battles fought in this area, but it is believed that the Confederate Army stashed a lot of its money on the southern sympathetic farms of the Eastern Shore. Many of the African American slaves spied for the Union Army and would turn in anyone they knew were keeping Confederate money to the Union Army and would keep them up to date on the comings and goings of these wealthy landowners. It is believed that Big Liz was a spy for the Union and that her slaveholder was a keeper of Confederate funds and that one of the hiding places had been discovered. Some believe that he knew that Big Liz was a traitor. The story says that there was a plot to change the location of the hidden money and to get rid of whoever was snitching on him. So the slaveholder took Big Liz to the swamp under the guise of helping him to rebury his stash of cash. He asked her to help bury the money and then pointed to a sapling and asked her to plant it over the burial site to help identify the location. When she bent to bury the sapling, the slaveholder cut off her head and left her there to rot. Since then, people have claimed to see strange lights in the swamp, and others have claimed to see Big Liz herself. She is said to be holding her head in her hand coming out of the swamp while calling and motioning for them to follow her, and she will lead them to the slaveholder's money. Anyone who has ever followed her has never been seen again after they disappear into the mists of the Greenbrier Swamp. Now, the next one I was really excited about. And then I put two pieces of a puzzle together about Edgar Allan Poe, and I was like, ew. Anyway, Edgar Allan Poe was born on January 19th, 1809 in Boston, Massachusetts. Both of his parents were professional actors who died before he was 3 years old. I think there's like different sources. Some say both of his parents died. Some say his dad just kind of like went out for milk and never came back, and that his mom died. But at any rate, he became a foster child in the care of John and Frances Allen in Richmond, Virginia. John was a prosperous tobacco exporter, and he sent Poe to the best boarding schools and later to the University of Virginia, where Poe excelled academically. However, Poe was forced to leave university when his adoptive father refused to pay his growing gambling debts. He returned for a brief time to Richmond. However, his relationship with Allen deteriorated, and in 1827, he moved back to Boston and enlisted in the U.S. Army. He also published his first collection of poems that same year entitled Tamerlane and Other Poems. Following his stint in the Army, Poe was admitted to the United States Military Academy, but was once again forced to leave due to his lack of financial support. He then moved into the home of his Aunt Maria Clem and her daughter Virginia in Baltimore. Remember, this was his aunt and his cousin. In 1836, he and his cousin Virginia were married.
Oh.
She was 13 years old at the time.
I feel like I did know that.
I did not realize she was 13.
I feel like I did know that.
I knew she was his cousin. I did not know she was 13. So over the next 10 years, he would edit a number of literacy journals, and it was during this time that he established himself as a poet, short story writer, and an editor. Some of his best-known works were created during this time, including The Fall of the House of Usher, The Telltale Heart, The Murders in the Rue Morgue, and The Raven. Following Virginia's death in 1847 from tuberculosis, his lifelong struggles with alcoholism and depression became increasingly worse. He briefly returned to Richmond in 1849 and then set out to pursue an editing job in Philadelphia. For reasons unknown, he stopped in Baltimore, and on October 3rd, 1849, he was found in a state of semi-consciousness. He was found to be wearing clothes that were not his own, and it has been speculated that he was the victim of cooping, which was a form of electoral fraud in the U.S. He was found outside of Gunners Hall, which was a polling station. Cooping victims were kidnapped, drugged, or forced to drink, and then disguised several times in order to cast several votes. Nevertheless, he died 4 days later from acute congestion of the brain, and his case was reopened by some medical examiners, and it was shown that Poe most likely had rabies.
Oh.
Though he was technically an incestuous child predator, his work as an editor, poet, and critic have had a profound impact on both American and international literature. The Baltimore home that Poe resided in for a few years with his aunt and his cousin teen wife, Virginia, is now a museum.
Cousin teen wife.
It displays many artifacts of the writer, and moreover, it houses an unknown spirit that is believed to be his grandmother, Elizabeth Poe, who died during their stay there. Many have reported seeing an older, portly woman throughout the home, but no one has ever reported her to be a malevolent spirit. This is one spirit of a woman. There is one spirit of a woman, though, who does cause some issues around the house. Once a woman was changing clothes in one of the rooms, and suddenly a window popped out of its frame and crashed to the floor.
Oh, okay.
Other people have reported being tapped on the shoulder by an unseen hand, muttering disembodied voices, lights moving around from room to room when no one is in them, and windows and doors slamming shut. Some have reported even seeing Poe himself, but it appears that he may drift from place to place throughout his favorite haunts from his lifetime. His ghost is often seen at the Horse You Came In On saloon, which he frequented when he was alive and lived in Baltimore. I did not do ghosts of the Horse You Came In On.
Well.
But yeah, so I didn't realize Edgar Allan Poe was a child predator.
I think I did know that.
Ew.
Honestly. All right, hold on. I'm piecing together the last little bit here. There's one section of this that I forgot I was going to have to do something with. Okay. Oh, that's short. No, it's fine. All right. Back to this. In the city of Baltimore, it's against the law for any person to operate, conduct, or maintain a body studio. There was no clear definition as to what a body studio would be. So if you guys know what that is,
let us know.
Please let us know.
I'm curious.
You can't swear while you're on the highway. I'd never be able to drive.
No, me either.
In the city of Rockville. It says the law states a person may not profanely curse or swear or use obscene language upon or near any street, sidewalk, or highway within the hearing of persons passing by, upon or along such street, sidewalk, or highway. So I guess as long as other people can't hear you.
Yeah.
It's subject to 100 days or a fine not exceeding $100 or imprisonment for 90 days or both.
What the hell? 90 days?
Yeah. 3 months for saying fuck.
And somebody hears it.
Yeah.
That's wild.
Baltimore. This is wild. Baltimore has banned all tramps and vagrants from city parks.
How's that working out for y'all?
It defines the word tramp as a person who roves for begging purposes, and a vagrant is an idle person who is able-bodied with living without labor. The fine for disobeying this is $50.
See, that's what they're making a felony in Nashville. That's crazy. That's wild.
Another park rule from the city of Cumberland is that it's illegal to knock or throw any stones or other missiles into or upon any public park or playground of the city, or engage in any games or play likely to be dangerous to persons visiting therein. So if your kid's throwing rocks, you're going to jail. You can't swim in public fountains.
I mean, you probably really shouldn't anyway. I bet that water's kind of gross.
So this says, way back when, Maryland lawmakers decided to come up with a board of parachute examiners made up of 5 licensed parachute instructors.
Mm-hmm.
The instructors would in turn test and license all the other parachute instructors. However, they were forced to shelve that plan when they realized that there were only 3 parachute instructors in the entire state.
Oh, yeah, that might put a little dampen on the...
Why? Condom dispensers are not allowed where there's alcohol sold. Why?
That would be exactly where you'd want them.
Yeah.
I don't know.
And then this one, this is a grunge list. I love a good grunge list.
I do love a good grunge list. That and Ranker. I love a Ranker list.
Hold on. You're not... This is Baltimore only. Mm-hmm. Baltimore be having some weird...
Yeah, Baltimore be having problems.
You're not allowed to throw bales of hay out of a second-story window.
Who ruined that for everybody else?
That's literally the only addition I had to that, off of that list, because everything else was stuff I already said. So, I'm ready for your next one.
So, I made mention of Clara Barton during our episode on the American Civil War. I think that went up last week. Yeah, that went up last week. I remember seeing the picture of Abraham Lincoln. But given that there are a few haunted places attached to her name, I figured I'd give her a little spotlight in this Maryland episode. What? Clara Barton was born on Christmas Day in 1821 in North Oxford, Massachusetts, and was the 5th child of Stephen and Sarah Barton. She had an early career in teaching, but she moved to Washington, D.C. to work at the U.S. Patent Office and was the very first woman to work for the federal government. While living in D.C., the American Civil War began in 1861. And during that time, she provided nursing care and supplies to wounded soldiers, and ultimately earned her the nickname of Angel of the Battlefield. Once the war was over, she found new ways to help the military, and with the blessing of President Lincoln, she opened the Office of Missing Soldiers and ultimately reconnected over 20,000 soldiers with their families. During a trip to Switzerland in 1869, she learned about the Red Cross movement in Europe. It was a humanitarian effort to provide neutral aid to those injured in combat. She was inspired by this cause and volunteered with the International Committee of the Red Cross and provided civilian relief during the Franco-Prussian War. This experience and her experiences during the American Civil War inspired her to bring this movement to America. On May 21st, 1881, Clara founded the American Red Cross, and by 1882, the U.S. ratified the Geneva Conventions, laws that to this day, for now, protect the war wounded and civilians in conflict zones. This later resulted in a U.S. congressional charter officially recognizing Red Cross services. She served as president of the Red Cross for 23 years and retired in 1904. She died at her home in Glen Echo, Maryland on April 12, 1912, just before the sinking of the Titanic. The Clara Barton Natural Historic... I'm going to bring up the Titanic any chance I get.
This incense stick burned
Oh,
like a centimeter.
I hate it when they do that. But the Clara Barton National Historic Site in Glen Echo was established in 1974 in order to honor the life and work of Clara. It contains 9 acres of land and her own 38-room residence, which served as the early headquarters of the American Red Cross and where she spent the last 15 years of her life. Many believe that she never departed from her Glen Echo residence, which is now part of the National Park Service. Visitors have reported seeing her spirit in a green dress and wandering the rooms and halls of her home. Now, I wasn't satisfied with this little ghost story, so I kept right on looking into Miss Clara Barton and found an article that had a link to a government site that no longer works of a video that I can't see of a carpenter telling his story of how he found Clara Barton's little office where she ran her missing soldiers work. So, the day before Thanksgiving in 1994, I found a different article that told me the story because I was like, I'm not going to let this go. So the day before Thanksgiving in 1994, the U.S.
That's how she's going to get taken by the government.
Yeah, probably.
Because she's going to get on a
I'm going to be on a list. So the day before Thanksgiving in 1994, the U.S. General Services Administration sent one of its staff carpenters, Richard Lyons, to inspect a block of vacant buildings that it had acquired on a quite decrepit block in downtown Washington, D.C. They wanted to begin bulldozing as soon as possible and wanted to be sure that there was no one who shouldn't be living there in the buildings, like no vagrants, whatever. The first 2 floors had been a shoe store that had long been out of business at 437 7th Street, and these were easy to access, and he found no one inside. On the 3rd floor, there were some boards nailed over the entrance at the top of the stairs, and he pried off some of the boards and went through the door. The rooms were empty, but as he was getting ready to descend the stairs, he felt a tap on his shoulder. The writer of my source states, I've met Richard Lyons, and he is the most phlegmatic, down-to-earth, retired carpenter you can imagine. He doesn't have any particular views on ghosts one way or the other. When he says he felt a tap on the shoulder, I'm inclined to believe him. Anyway, when Mr. Lyons turned around, of course, no one was there. But he spied a piece of paper sticking out from a crack where the wall should have met the ceiling above. He was curious, so he pulled himself up through a small hole into the crawl space above the ceiling, and there he found Miss Clara Barton.
Oh.
Not her spirit or her dried-up corpse or anything macabre like that, but instead it was an entire assortment of personal items, files, and other artifacts relating to her and her work, including a prominent metal sign that said Missing Soldiers Office, 3rd story, Room 9, Miss Clara Barton. Lyons had some inclination that she was a historical figure, however, he did not understand the gravity of his find, but quickly redeemed himself with many nightly visits to the Library of Congress. He didn't immediately share this with his supervisor, whose response to the find had been to basically get rid of it and not tell anyone because the mission was to have the entire block demolished, and he didn't want any busybody delays. Insubordinate Richard Lyons would learn all that I have just told you about Miss Clara Barton, and what he found was that as the war dragged on, the Federal Army grew more professional and wanted to do things the Army way, which meant going through a chain of command rather than relying on kind-hearted volunteers like Miss Clara Barton. Particularly volunteers with a reputation for being as energetic about attracting press coverage as they had been about doing their jobs. It didn't help that she found herself carrying on a little torrid romance with a married colonel during the protracted, often boring siege of Charleston. By the end of the war, she found herself without a mission in life and filled the void with the Missing Soldiers Bureau. The Civil War record-keeping was not exactly the best, especially for the thousands of federal prisoners at the horrific Confederate camp in Andersonville, Georgia, and she took it upon herself to publish lists of missing soldiers in newspapers and bulletin boards throughout the country with pleas for any information their comrades might have about their whereabouts or their final resting place. Thousands upon thousands of letters went in and out of the little third-floor office on 7th Street, and she slept on a cot in the back. The issue was that the Army was doing the same thing, but the Army way, and there was a pretty nasty dispute as to who was entitled to the list of Andersonville prisoners that one of Barton's friends had found, and this made her look bad. There were also her very vocal demands for greater federal funding, and many thought that the funds she received were unjustifiably large. Her work at the office abruptly ended when she suffered a nervous breakdown, and the landlord apparently just stashed her belongings in the attic, where they remained totally undisturbed for 130 years until they were discovered by Richard Lyons when he was tapped on the shoulder.
Nice. Nice.
Am I reading the next one too?
No, I'll go ahead with mine because you've only got one more, right?
Yeah, I've just got one more.
I'll do this one and then I'll do my last one. So this one, I was trying to do, like we did Florida Man. I was trying to find like stupid.
Yeah.
Okay. So the biggest one that I found, and I don't necessarily think that it's like stupid, but like it was interesting. So Maryland police arrest apparent leader of cult-like Zizian group linked to U.S. killings. And this was updated literally this past Tuesday.
Oh.
February 18th, 2025.
Yeah.
The leader of the cult-like group, known as the Zizians, Zizians, has been arrested in Maryland, along with another member of the group. Jack Lasota, who was 34, was arrested Sunday, along with Michelle Zajago, Zajko, who is 33. They face multiple charges, including trespassing, obstructing, and hindering, and possession of a handgun in a vehicle. The bond for them is scheduled, or the bail hearing for them is scheduled for 11 a.m. this past Tuesday, I believe. They've been tied to the killing of U.S. Border Patrol agent David Mayland near the Canadian border in January, and 5 other homicides in Vermont, Pennsylvania, and California.
Oh my God.
Mayland, who was 44, was killed in a January 20th shootout following a traffic stop in Coventry, Vermont, which is a small town about 20 miles from the Canadian border. Lasota published a dark and sometimes violent blog under her name Ziz, and in one section described her theory that the two hemispheres of the brain could hold separate values and genders and often desire to kill each other. Lasota, who used she, her pronouns, and in her writings says that she is a transgender woman, railed against perceived enemies, including so-called rationalist groups, which operate mostly online and seek to understand human cognition through reason and knowledge. Some are concerned with potential dangers of artificial intelligence. So, it didn't go into a whole lot of detail. I couldn't find a whole lot of detail on the cult itself. I feel like that's another deep dive that I may want to go into later. Yeah. And I didn't really want to get into it on this one.
Right.
But I just thought that was interesting.
That is interesting.
So, go ahead with your last one, and then I'm going to hit y'all with a shocker coming from me, really.
All right. So, located in State Circle, the Maryland State House began construction in 1772, and delays caused by the outbreak of the American Revolution meant that it would not be completed until 1779. This Georgian-style structure is 2 stories and was designed by Joseph Horatio Anderson, who was a popular architect at the time. There are 2 arched windows that frame the entrance of the building and large rectangular windows on both floors. The large dome has a balustraded balcony, an octagonal drum, and a lantern that is capped by a lightning rod. And this lightning rod was constructed by Benjamin Franklin himself. I thought I was impressed when I read that. I was like, ooh! From November 26th of 1783 until August 13th, 1784, Maryland was the capital of the United States, and the Congress of the Confederation met in the State House. The governor's reception room on the second floor is primarily used for ceremonial purposes and bill signings. The Maryland State House is one of the oldest state capitals in the country and is still in use today. And it is no stranger to ghost stories, with the most popular legend being the story of plasterer Thomas Dents, who once worked on the dome. So in 1793, which my original source only was like, he fell and died. Okay. I was like, there's got to be more to this story. So in 1793, Thomas Dents was on a scaffolding plastering the top of the dome, and when the scaffolding collapsed, he fell 94 feet to his death on the marble floor below. The story goes that Dents had a widow and several children, and upon his death, they were left with no income. His employer refused to pay owed wages to Dents's widow, stating, "Dents is dead, and dead men don't get paid."
What a jerk.
There have also been reports of a soldier from the Revolutionary War. I feel like there's more to that story. Did I leave something off? Something happened. There was definitely more to that. There was more to that story because the boss also withheld his tools, wouldn't give her his tools.
Oh.
And so she could sell them. And they eventually got deported back to England. I don't know what happened to that. There was definitely more to that story now that I'm reading that. Anyway, there have also been reports of a soldier from the Revolutionary War era seen wandering the grounds as well. And there is also a room that is famous for being the room where George Washington resigned, and it is said to also be haunted. But the origins of this spirit are unknown. Could Washington still be haunting the old Senate chamber, or is it someone else trying to make their presence known? There have been many other spirits that have been reported throughout the grounds and the State House itself, but I couldn't find any other specific examples, but primarily it was that Thomas Dents story, which I'm really upset got deleted from my notes, because that was a really long story. My Microsoft Word was freezing up really bad yesterday, and I had to do some repairs to my laptop. So I think that part just didn't get saved. But yeah, his wife and kids ended up getting deported. His ghost hangs around. Let me see hold on. Let me find that link and read you, hopefully, that story if it's on here.
You know how earlier I said I wasn't hungry?
I'm starting to get a little hungry.
Oh, these are much better if you don't peel them. I can handle that.
Yeah, it's not bad if you don't peel it.
Oh, I want you to know, I got tickled over here because the word vagrant was sticking out in my mind, and I was like, doesn't that mean something like smells? And I'm like, what is the word for something that smells? And I'm like, vagrant? Vagrant? Isn't that it? And I was like, no, bitch, it's fragrant. What the fuck?
Oh my god.
Did you see me over here giggling?
I did. I don't know. The source didn't even get saved. So.
Dang.
Whatever. You missed out on it. Look up the Thomas Dents story, because there's a link. There's an article that he's called Dance in the article. Like they just misspelled his name in the article. And it really gives a thorough explanation of his haunting. He's seen walking around the top of the dome, around the balustrade. He's seen walking, and they think he's just he likes to cause mischief. So he thinks he's upset. People think he's upset that his family was never paid for the work that he had done, and they never received his tools so that they could sell them to earn money.
Right.
And that he's haunting the State House, which good for him. Yeah. So that was it, I guess.
All right. Well, this last one. So normally with these, I just do states and stupid arrests. Well, I found a cryptid story. Yeah. And I feel like maybe we touched on something like this, or maybe even this. I don't know. But this is the Goat Man.
Yeah.
So the Goat Man of Maryland is a cryptid that has intrigued and frightened locals for over 70 years. This terrifying half-man, half-goat creature, not to be confused with Krampus, often described...
Heaven forbid.
Right. Often described wielding an axe and stalking the woods, has captivated imaginations, particularly in Prince George's County. Though similar creatures appear throughout American folklore, such as in Texas and Kentucky, the Maryland Goat Man remains the most notorious. The creature's legend, steeped in unsettling encounters, cryptic reports, and evolving folklore, continues to fascinate both believers and skeptics. The origins of the Maryland Goat Man trace back to the late 1950s, when early whispers of a strange, hairy creature walking on two legs began circulating in towns like Forestville and Upper Marlboro. Though these sightings were sparse, they planted the seeds for the myth of the Goat Man. However, it wasn't until the early 1970s that the legend began to truly take shape. In 1971, a report in the Prince George's County News about sightings near Fletchertown Road, supplemented by the University of Maryland Folklore Archives, sparked increased interest in the creature. But it was a month later that the legend would surge into public consciousness in a way no one could have predicted. The catalyst for the Goatman's rise to prominence was a chilling story published by the Washington Post. The article detailed the gruesome discovery of a decapitated dog named Ginger near a popular Goatman sighting spot in Bowie, Maryland. The report included testimony from April Edwards, a local woman who claimed the Goatman had killed her pet. What I saw was real, and I know that I'm not crazy, Edwards declared, solidifying the creature was a frightening reality for the community. This gruesome event set off a chain reaction, with other residents coming forward to share their own eerie encounters. Soon, stories of the Goatman began to spread far and wide. As the years passed, the Goatman's myth expanded. Teens began to actively seek out the creature's alleged haunts, further fueling the lore. By 2008, local monster enthusiast Mark Opsasnick, why people gotta have weird names? Mark noted, when I bring up the Goatman on the first day of class, every local instantly recognizes the reference. Once regulated to whispers, the creature had firmly embedded itself into the region's folklore and enduring let me start that part over.
Words are hard.
Yeah. Once relegated to whispers, the creature had firmly embedded itself into the region's folklore, enduring despite the creeping urban sprawl that threatened the secluded forest where the Goatman was believed to roam. Before the 1970s explosion in sightings, there had been earlier reports in 1957 of a strange bipedal beast lurking in the forest of Maryland. Locals in Forestville and Upper Marlboro described encountering a hairy, upright creature through these initial sightings, but these didn't garner widespread attention. However, by the early 1970s, the creature's presence then became, bigger and captured the public's imagination. One of the most widely accepted origin stories for the Goatman connects it to a U.S. Department of Agriculture scientist named Dr. Stephen Fletcher, who worked at the Beltsville Agricultural Research Center. According to the tale, Fletcher became obsessed with crossing human and animal DNA, resulting in a horrific transformation that left him as a violent hybrid, terrorizing the region. The narrative gained traction after the Washington Post published an article in 1971 referring to the Goatman as a mad scientist created through twisted experiments. So, they're trying to say that, this is the guy.
Yeah.
This is the scientist. Locals even reported encounters with a massive hairy entity near the research center, reinforcing the idea that the creature's origins were linked to his experiments. Another version of the origin points to William Lotsford, a scientist who was allegedly botched a DNA experiment transforming himself into the creature. Okay, so I misunderstood. The first one was that he created it. This one is going to be that he transformed himself into it. While skeptics dismiss these stories, others find them compelling, adding an eerie sense of believability to the legend. Some theories even suggest that Goatman may have been a hermit with a goat-like beard who lived in the woods, terrifying those who ventured too close. Despite the varying explanations for its origins, the creature's physical description has remained remarkably consistent. Witnesses typically describe it as a towering bipedal entity with a muscular human-like torso, goat-like horns, hooves, and hairy legs. In the 1970s, it was reported to stand about 6 feet tall, capable of moving both on two legs and swiftly on all fours. The Goatman's most terrifying abilities include its supposed shape-shifting powers and superhuman strength. It cries, which combine human and goat-like sounds, only added to its dread-inducing presence. In addition to its physical features, the creature's reputation for attacking vehicles became part of its legend. Drivers reported terrifying encounters where the Goatman would leap onto their cars and shatter the windows, trying to reach the occupants inside.
How do you claim that on your insurance?
All right. Can you picture it? Like, you get free. You're good. Like,
you imagine
safe.
being that agent,
that adjuster. Like, you're like,
they're like, wait a minute, what?
So here's what had happened. What had happened was, anyway, many pets, particularly dogs, went missing or were found decapitated in areas known for Goatman sightings, while teens reported being stalked or even attacked when they ventured into the woods seeking thrills. You know what? Drama.
Yeah.
Because that's what a teen is good for.
Yeah.
In Prince George's County, certain locations became infamous for Goatman encounters. Fletchertown Road and the nearby Crybaby Bridge in Bowie gained notoriety, with locals claiming to hear strange noises, including the sound of a baby crying, believed to be the Goatman's cry. The creature's habit of attacking passing vehicles, particularly those occupied by couples, further contributed to its terror. Other witnesses reported hearing unsettling screams and finding evidence like bones, knives, and saws in the area where the Goatman was said to roam. The popularity of the Goatman legend coincided with the broader cultural anxiety of the 1970s, especially the Satanic Panic, and the increasing suburbanization of Maryland. As more young people sought secluded spots for parties and thrills, they inadvertently contributed to the rise in Goatman sightings. This mix of real encounters, practical jokes, and wildlife misidentifications helped solidify the Goatman's place in Maryland folklore. The Goatman's influence has reached far beyond local myths over the years. Over the years, the creature has appeared in documentaries, books, and even pop culture. 2015 book Monsters of Maryland, Mysterious Creatures in the Old Line State delved into the Goatman's mythos, and the creature has made appearances in TV shows like The X-Files and Supernatural. I meant to look that up and I didn't. Do you remember it?
I don't. It rings a bell.
Google it and see if you can find it.
I'll look it up real quick.
Even music has been influenced by the legend, with metal bands and rapper DMX referencing the Goatman in their works. While the Goatman exists mostly in the realm of folklore today, its endearing legacy speaks to the power of urban legends and human imagination. Whether real or imagined, the Goatman's impact on Maryland's history and culture is undeniable. His presence continues to captivate new generations, ensuring that his legend lives on. And two, there was a story. Why didn't I include it? There was a story that I did not include, and I just thought about it. Let me see if I can find it in my links here.
Okay, so it was season 12, episode 18.
I don't think I've made it that far on my rewatch yet.
The episode called The Memory Remains. It says, when Sam and Dean investigate the case of a missing person, the lead witness says the victim was attacked by a man with the head of a goat. I do not remember that episode.
Okay, so here's another. Okay, here's the story that I didn't include. So I'm just going to read it straight from this. It's because it's from Texas. Do we want to dip into that a little bit?
Sure.
Or just save it?
You've already mentioned it.
Okay.
Let's save it.
Save it? Okay. Okay. Anyway, so that's that.
Wow.
Nonprofit for the month is She's the First. They advocate. Hold on. It says we are advocates and changemakers, ambitious students and dedicated teachers, inspiring artists and seasoned policymakers, resilient mothers and feminist fathers, community organizers and business leaders. We come from many countries and backgrounds, but our differences are not nearly as important as what we share. A belief that every girl, no matter where she is born, deserves to be educated, respected, and heard. In everything that we do, we put girls' voices at the center of conversations that affect their lives. We also believe in anti-oppressive partnerships and support communities that drive their own transformation.
Hell yeah, brother.
So I thought
and it's Happy Women's History Month.
Yeah. So I thought that was pretty cool. And it's awesome because it's literally, I mean, the majority of the bigger people within this organization are women, but there are men as well.
I think that's important too to have. I think it's important, if you're gonna call for equality, I think it's important to have both
right
men and women and deities, whoever involved in stuff. I think that's important. I'm not that type of feminist. I'm not like a radical feminist where I'm like women only. I think it's important. I think the balance is important.
I do too.
Well,
we're going to end it with, make sure that you're following us on all the socials like Facebook,
Instagram.
Hey, guess what? I'm back on TikTok.
Yeah. Blue Sky. Follow us on Blue Sky.
Furthermore, though, have I posted anything on our TikTok? Nope, sure haven't.
No.
But we'll get there. It's a process.
Yeah. Same thing with Blue Sky. It's a process.
I don't even know what Blue Sky is.
It's the alternative for the musty app that I'm getting off of. And YouTube. You can follow us on YouTube too. Email us.
Wanderers of Weird
@gmail.com.
Yeah, girl.
Hell yeah, brother. See y'all next week.
Okay, bye.